Hi everyone, my name is Alex, and in this video we are going to speak about difference between Russian, Belarusian and Ukrainian languages. My English, Chinese and German friends often ask me, Alex, what is the difference between these three languages? Is this three dialects of the same language, or it's just three absolutely separate languages, or you understand each other, or how does it work? And as a Russian citizen and as a person who speaks Ukrainian and can read and understand Belarusian and whose mother is half Ukrainian, half Belarusian, I probably just have to do such video. Okay, let's divide this huge question on three separate parts. First part. Is this three dialects or it's three separate languages? And the simple response here and the main idea of this entire video is Russian, Belarusian and Ukrainian are three separate languages. It's not dialect. There are some strange people in Russia who think that Ukrainian and Belarusian are dialects of Russian. Oh my god, it's not. It's not dialects. Откройте гребаную Википедию и почитайте хотя бы что-то. Part 2. Do we understand each other? And here everything is a bit more complicated. Because of some historical circumstances, Russian language has huge influence in Belarus and in Ukraine. And in these two countries, you can find a lot of Russian broadcasts, Russian channels, you can watch movies in Russian, etc., etc. And honestly saying, in Belarus, most of TV shows and TV programs are in Russian. So Belarusians and Ukrainians are very familiar with Russian language. They can speak the language freely and they absolutely understand any word in this language. So if you are a tourist in Ukraine or in Belarus and you don't know the local languages, you can use Russian language and people will absolutely understand you and you will face absolutely no problems with it. But if you want to use local languages, you have to learn it separately, as a separate languages with their own rules and grammar. But in Russia, we don't have any broadcast in Ukrainian or Belarusian languages. And most of Russian people never heard these two languages in their life. So as you can probably understand, Russian people are really not familiar with these two languages, with languages of our neighbors. So, of course, they have a lot of problems to understand these two languages. But if you will speak slowly and you will speak about some simple topics, Russians will understand you. For example, I want to say in Ukrainian or in Belarusian, my name is Alexander. Russians will understand me. Because in Russian, my name is Alexander is Меня зовут Александр. While in Belarusian, this is Мяне кличуть Alexander. And in Ukrainian, it's Мене звати Олександр. So it's quite understandable. But if you will discuss some complicated topic and you will use not very simple words, Russians will not understand you, maybe at all. And to show you the difference in the grammar and in the pronunciation, let's have a look on these three texts. All these texts are just first part of Declaration of Human Rights. And let's hear the pronunciation.
Усе людзі нараждаюцца свабоднымі і роўнымі ў сваёй годнасці і правах. Яны надзелены розумам і сумленнем і павінны ставіцца адзін да аднаго ў духу братства.
Всі люди народжуються вільними і рівними у своїй гідності та правах. Вони наділені розумом і совістю і повинні діяти у відношенні один до одного в дусі братерства.
Все люди рождаются свободными и равными в своем достоинстве и правах. Они наделены разумом и совестью и должны поступать в отношении друг друга в духе братства.
As you can probably hear, the languages sound different. And the third part of this question, which language people actually use in these three countries? About Russia, it's very simple. People use Russian language. Even native Belarusian and Ukrainian speakers here use Russian language. As for example, my mother and her family, they don't speak Belarusian, they speak Russian, maybe with some Belarusian pronunciation, with some Belarusian accent. In Belarus, according to Wikipedia, around half of population can speak and write Belarusian. But in fact, just about 15% use Belarusian languages in their life. And around 80-70% of people in Belarus use Russian language in their life. So in fact, Russian language is more spoken in Belarus than Belarusian language. It's just a fact. In Ukraine, around 70-60% of people can speak and write Ukrainian, and 50%, a bit more than 50%, use Ukrainian in their life, and around 40-30% of Ukrainian population use Russian in their life. The statistic is different between Ukrainian regions. Ukrainian language is more spoken in central Ukraine and in western Ukraine, and Russian language is more spoken in eastern Ukraine and in Crimea and in southern Ukraine. But despite in western Ukraine, Ukrainian language is mostly spoken, you can freely use Russian language there too. For example, last October I was in city Lviv in western Ukraine, or in Lvov in Russian pronunciation, and despite I speak Ukrainian, sometimes I use Russian language, and people quickly switched to Russian language and started to speak Russian language with me. But there are some stereotypes here in Russia about western Ukraine and especially city Lviv. According to the stereotypes, you can't use Russian in this region. These stereotypes are absolutely false. It's not true. You can freely use Russian language in this region and you will still understandable and people will still respond to you. So I think now it's clear for you. I hope it was interesting and informative. So if you like this video, please press like. If you don't like this video, feel free to press dislike. If you know people who may be interested in such topics, please let them know about this video and feel free to subscribe to the channel, although I speak Russian language here mostly. But you also can find some videos in English or in other languages. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.